Ladies, today I want to give you 3 insights that you can use to help your husband avoid perhaps falling into lust or sexual sin. And ladies, we are our husband's helper. We know this from Genesis 2:18, where God said, "It's not good for man to be alone. I will create a helper suitable for him." We are our husband's helper. So here are 3 insights on, again, how you can perhaps help your husband avoid falling into lust or sexual sin. First one's kind of obvious, but it has to be said. Build a robust sex life with your husband so that his sexual needs and temptations are being satisfied within the confines of marriage. That's where it's supposed to happen. And I know some of you are exhausted. You have little kids hanging on you, and you're like, oh, and now he wants something. Well, there is a way to get around some of that. Maybe you need to ask your husband to help with chores in the evening so that you can relax a minute and be more sexually available to him. Maybe you have wounds from your childhood. Maybe you were sexually abused. Well, perhaps you need to go see a counselor to get healing for those wounds so that you can enter into that robust sex life with your husband. Okay, second tip. Perhaps your husband is self-medicating with lust, with pornography, with sexual sin because he is struggling with old wounds from his childhood, deep insecurities, and he's maybe subconsciously self-medicating sexually. If you suspect that's the case, then it's time to have that gentle, loving conversation with your husband and suggest that perhaps he would benefit from seeing a counselor to look at some of those old wounds that he has. But third, and here's where I really want to go with this, I want to urge you to remove any stumbling blocks that you may have inadvertently placed in front of your husband regarding temptation to lust. You know, 1 Corinthians 10:32 says, "Do not cause anyone to stumble." And here's how we sometimes do this, ladies, and again, we don't intend to, but for instance, I used to get the Victoria's Secret catalog because, I'm married and there's nothing wrong with buying sexy lingerie to wear for my husband. But when those catalogs came in the mail and they're sitting on the kitchen counter and my husband walks by and looks at this scantily clad woman who's wearing very provocative lingerie, that's soft pornography and it would of course cause any man to lust. So I canceled that subscription a long time ago. There are TV shows that I would kind of like to watch, like Dancing with the Stars, but there's a lot of scantily clad women who are writhing around in sexual postures, and I realized this is probably not a good TV show to be watching with my husband. And so I carefully kind of guard and preview shows ahead of time to see if there's, sexuality in there, and nudity or partial nudity, and we just don't watch those shows. Something that I can do to help my husband avoid that temptation to lust.